And welcome to the channel. Today I'm bringing the latest transfer news about Mason Mount, Andre Onana, Lautaro Martinez, and Declan Rice. So let's get back into it. So Mason Mount, as we know, Manchester United have made a second bid for him, but Chelsea are holding out for a fee that's closer to their valuation. United have already had one offer of 40 million not back, but have returned with a second offer worth closer to 50 million pounds. Now Chelsea's valuation is 70 million, and negotiations between the two clubs are ongoing. Now, according to sources, they believe that United believe that £50 million is a fair fee, but which does reflect that Mount could leave Chelsea for nothing in 12 months' time. Now, sources, according to SPN, say that United do remain confident they can do a deal for Mount that would see him sign in time to join Erik Ten Hag's squad for the pre-season tour of the United States, which begins next month on the 20th of July. However, club sources have told ESPN that United are reluctant to stretch to £70 million and that the transfer will depend on how much Chelsea are willing to change their demands. Now, as I've said previously, I don't think that Chelsea need to change their demands. Why do I think that? Well, this guy, yes, apparently wants to leave, but he's for 2 seasons on a run in the run. He was their top player, their players' player, and their fans' player of the season. So realistically, they probably want to keep hold of Mason Mount, but because the guy wants to leave, they're gonna, reluctantly accept bids, but they've got to be bids that they are willing to accept. Ultimately, I mean, it's not like United selling Fred on the cheap. This is that one of their what they see as their best players. Yes, he had a bad season last season, but ultimately they value him and they would like to see him stay in the squad. I mean, what are your thoughts? My thoughts on Mason Mount are yes, we can't judge him solely based on what happened last season. We have to look at his career as a whole. And I think he's still an up and coming player. There's still room for him to become um, a great player. I won't say world class. I'll say a great player because I think that's where he could be. He could be, and the problem we've got under a Ted Bowley regime at Chelsea is that that guy's probably going to spend lots more money bringing multiple players for that position that Mason Mount plays in, and he may find himself, even though as I've just said that they still value him as a player, he could see himself as a little bit down the pecking order or in the midst of a lot of squad rotation that sees him not get the chances to play that he may assume that he needs. So I personally don't want to see United spend more than 60 million on him. And it just depends on whether this is going to be a long, dragged out affair. Um, where the money's coming from for this deal, we don't know because obviously there's no chatter about Ten Hag's not openly saying anything to the press right now. The Glazers never say anything virtually to the press. So we've just got to accept that there are things going on and we just got to hope that we can sign some of our signings with Mason Mount, hopefully, fingers crossed, being the first of many. So let's move on to Andre Onana. Right. So all the major newspapers in Italy today have confirmed that United want to sign Onana, with the Cameroonian being a massive, massive target for Erik Ten Hag. I mean, the pair worked together at Ajax, with Onana playing a key role as Ten Hag's side reached the 2019 Champions League semi-final. In fact, they were just seconds away from making the final before obviously they missed out. And if United were to bid, apparently this is rumours, if United were to bid 60 million euros, Inter would consider selling in order to replace Onana um, with Empoli goalkeeper. I can't say this name. I'll try. It's Guglielmo Vicario. So as you know, I'm not great with foreign names, but anyway, here we go. So obviously, Anana is 26 years old, and he's one of the best goalkeepers in Serie A, especially this last season. And he's available for around 25 to 30 million. And so, if United were to bid 60 million euro, which is possibly what they may want. I mean, we don't know yet. We just know that United are interested, and Ten Hag has an interest in that player, having worked with him before. But I mean, if we were to pay 60, that would mean that they'd make a 30 million euro profit on him. Um, Apparently, now I've not watched a lot of Anana at all, but apparently he's got cat-like reflexes, and he's a commanding presence in his box, and he dominates that area. He's also apparently a leader, an organizer, and is a very vocal. Speaks to his back four, shouts commands out, keeps them on their toes. And apparently he's also brilliant with his feet and reads the game really well, and acts as a sweeper. I mean, that's something that Ten Hag particularly wants in a goalkeeper, and it's more than what David De Gea right now is offering uh, Erik Ten Hag. So it may be that if David De Gea was to leave, which today I think all's a bit quiet on that. I'm not. I personally feel that we're just out. We should just get goals into the side, and that a goalkeeper isn't high up on our priority list, but we are where we are. I mean, if David De Gea does leave, then other than going for second or third choice keepers, um, Erik Ten Hag must be able to buy a first choice goalkeeper. Um, Guessing on price, I mean, we already know that he's available for around 25 to 30 million, but there's a reasonable chance that we're not the only club in for him, and that there may, a bidding war may ensue pretty soon. And I think it'll be the first club that goes in, first club makes a bid, and then you'll start to see who the other interested parties are. Um, Obviously, with no idea when that will be, and I'll just keep you informed. I'll just keep you informed. So moving on, let's move on to Lissandro Martinez. So Inter Milan chief Javier Zanetti says that striker Lissandro Martinez is content at Inter, and has confirmed that no offers have yet been made for the player. I mean, the Argentinian striker is apparently it's not actually on United striker transfer list. Sure, despite there being kind of like tentative links, I think it was after it was during the Inter and the AC Milan um, game in the Champions League, where he kind of stood out as being one of the better players on the pitch, that I think there was a little chatter after that game linking United with Martinez. But other than today, I've not really come across any rumours or anything out linking us to him. But he's 25 years old, and he scored 28 times last season in Serie A and all competitions. Uh, and he guided his team to the Champions League final. So the guy is not only a goal scorer, but he has Champions League experience, which obviously United are in the Champions League this coming season. So the more experience we have in competitions like that in the squad, the better. So Martinez has 3 years left on his contract, so would not be that cheap to buy. I mean, Erik Ten Hag is still in the dark over his transfer budget, and I mean, obviously that's down to the takeover process and how dragged out that's been. And the fact that we've not actually sold on any of the dead weight players yet to have any idea really what Ten Hag's budget is. I know some people say that he'll definitely have 200 million, or he'll have 100 million, or so on, or this or that. But they're really just clutching that out the sky, and I have no idea, and I'm not going to make any guesses over how much Erik Ten Hag will have to spend. But back to Lisandro Martinez. I mean, there was one ex-United player, ex-United great, I should say, in Paul Scholes, who thinks he'd be a great player. I mean, he said he would support Martinez's move to United if it was ever sanctioned. He recently said to BT Sport, he says, I like Lisandro Martinez. I think he's Ten Hag's type of player. He will, he says, run about, be aggressive, and go up against people. The guy's not afraid of a tackle. He's not afraid of going up against anybody. Um, I mean, as well as his 28 goals, it's not Paul Scholes, it's me now. As well as his 28 goals, Martinez registered 11 assists this season. So, what does that tell you? That tells you he's a little, he gets in and about the box, gets into goal scoring situations, but also gets into supporting roles. So, it suggests that his movement, he's not that of a static player. He can probably read the game quite well, and he can read the movements of other players in advanced positions, which again, we need. So not only do we need goal scorers, we need players that can help create goals for us. So Martinez may be someone we can add to that list. As a price, I mean, you tell me in the comments below, um, what's his, does he have a market? Well, he obviously will have a market value, but what is that? I haven't looked. Um, anyway, let me know what you think about Martinez as a striking option. While we can move on now, we'll move on to Declan Rice. So Declan Rice has been linked with United for a while now, um, and right now United apparently are considering rivaling Arsenal uh, by proposing a player plus cash deal. That's according to the Daily Telegraph. However, some suggest that Manchester City also like Declan Rice and have been weighing up a move for the 24-year-old in the last few days. However, some rumours suggest that Guardiola's interest is purely cosmetic, and I have to agree with this. Apparently, and this is called some rumours, and this is my opinion too, that City's only interest in Declan Rice is to inflate the price for their rivals. They don't want him. They just want to make their opposition pay more so they can afford fewer players. Now, right now, from what I know, Arsenal are the only side to have actually tabled a bid. So they've bid 90 million. That's 75 million plus 15 in add-ons spread over 5 years, which was, I mean, immediately not backed by West Ham, which is, I'm not surprised really. And that was yesterday on Tuesday. I mean, to me, that bid's a bit of a joke. I mean, it's obvious that Arsenal can't actually afford Bryce, as the payments would break down as 15 million per year over 5 years, then a 15 million pound payment, well, 15 million in total in payments in add-ons that may be based on Rice reaching targets that Arsenal, well, they could be far fetched. They could be like, we'll give you 5 million extra on top if we Declan Rice is in the team that gets us to the Champions League final, or if we win the Premier League 2 seasons in a row, or stupid things like that. So I mean that's a bit far fetched. So as I sit here right now, it looks like United could, if they wanted to be, could be still in with a race for Declan Rice. Now we'd have to obviously, as I've just been saying, we don't know exactly how much money Erik Ten Hag has, but I doubt there'd be anything stopping United from doing a deal over 5 years, something like Arsenal have offered. I know Arsenal his deal has been rejected, but if there was a way for us to find out why that was rejected, do they want 100 million up front? Do they want 20 million a year over 5 years? What is it that they want? What is it that will prize Declan Rice away? Because ultimately, he isn't signing a new contract there. He turned that down. He will be leaving West Ham. There is minuscule chance that he'll be staying at that club this summer because the guy wants to leave. And even, I forget his name right now, but the CEO of West Ham, he's basically said that it's time for Declan Rice to leave that club. So, sorry, David Gold, isn't it? So ultimately, he will be leaving, and it's whether he be leaving right now, whether he be leaving to Arsenal or going somewhere else. I mean, there was talk that Bayern Munich were involved, but so far nothing has materialised from Bayern Munich. And there was the story last week that I brought to you about how Declan Rice apparently wants to come to United. I mean, his concerns are one, financial, and two, the takeover process and what that means for the club. But still, it's not really about his concerns. It's about the financial state that Manchester United are in, and we're all in the dark on that. So moving on, and there was a little bit of fan fury yesterday, and that was the amount that United put Fred up for sale for, which was about £20 million. And the interested there is a club that have put in shown their interest in Fred, and that's Fulham. But apparently they're not willing to pay £20 million, and they're willing to walk away unless United reduce the amount that they want for the player. Now, personally, without knowing how much we United again have to spend on new signings, I think selling a semi-reliable squad player would be an absolute mistake and smacks a little bit of desperation, and that's desperation at 20 million. And the fact that Fulham want to pay less, I I tell them go jog on. We'll keep him. I mean, ultimately, what if we don't get Mason Mount? What if we end up with the same midfield, or if we sell Fred, the same midfield minus Fred at the start of the season coming? We'll be in a mess. So I think you really need to think about who you're bringing in first before you start to sell players. I know that's like a chicken and egg situation because Ten Hag really it's been said that Ten Hag needs to sell before he can buy. But ultimately, if you're selling players for peanuts, um, you need to sell a lot of peanuts to make enough money to buy Mason Mount. So, I mean, according to the Daily Telegraph, Fulham have registered an interest in the 30-year-old, but have not held any detailed discussions over the financial structure of what a deal may look like. But, and this is most importantly for Fred anyway, it's believed that Fred will not be offered a new deal by Man United. And he would be willing to join Fulham and work under their head coach, Marco Silva. So if United aren't going to offer Fred a new deal, then why aren't they trying to get more money for him? I mean, ultimately, I mean, I don't know how much time he's got left on his contract. Do you know? Please let me know in the comments below. Um, Personally, I've got nothing against Fred leaving the club, but what I do have against him leaving the club for 20 million is we just don't know how much money Ten Hag will need to buy the players he wants. I mean, with Rasmus Højlund potentially costing £60 million, I mean, 20 million, that's a third. Where's the rest of that money coming from? Especially if it is true that Ten Hag has to sell before he can buy. So we need to be getting as much money as we can. And we're a week, a week today the transfer window opened, and there's all this doom and gloom around United to do with the transfer window. It's been open a week. It's early days. And if the sale of the club, in the next week or two moves through pretty quickly, maybe we'll be able to get a player in for the trip to the US. Um, Fingers crossed. Let's wait and see. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you've liked it. Please let me know what you think in the comments below about anything I've said or any of the topics of discussion. So that's Mason Mount, Andre Onana, Lautaro Martinez, Declan Rice, and obviously the Fred thing. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are on all those players and how much you think United should pay, whether you think they're the right players for the club. Um, Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.